met in the 2000 Cotton Bowl, and Arkansas beat Texas 27-6. But let's bring in a guy who knows a little bit about this rivalry, Todd Dodge, the head football coach at Westlake High School. Glad you were here, and if you were not aware, the first time I met this guy was when I was working in East Texas, Lufkin, South Lake Carroll. Interviewed you at Baylor Stadium when and one of the many times Lufkin played, and there was just a bond from that point forward. And then again, before your first game at North Texas and Oklahoma, you had to play a guy named Sam Bradford.
Yes, we did.
But you had some good experiences as a quarterback. And if we can roll the video, I want to show you Todd Dodge while he was at Texas against Rice. Probably, what do you think, your statistical best game?
That probably was, yes.
359 yards passing, and then I think the second longest play in Texas football history. What was it? Go through that play.
Well, I think we had an offsides penalty, right before, or a procedure penalty right before that. That got us on the 4-yard line. It allowed us to set the record at the time, but it was a 96-yard touchdown pass from myself to Donovan Pitts against Rice there in 1984.
Now, speaking of 84, you talk about Arkansas, this rivalry. You are a perfect 4-0 against Arkansas when you played at Texas. Your best game, which year?
It had been 1984. We played them in Austin. It was, really don't remember the final score. I know we had a good win against them. We threw the ball well that night, and it was a great one.
Now, if you go back, the 1984 game, you guys won that game. Tell me a little bit about some of your favorite memories of playing the Arkansas Razorbacks, because I think this current younger generation, they're somewhat disconnected from this rivalry.
Well, one of the things that people don't realize is that the time that myself and my teammates were playing in the Southwest Conference, we would play Oklahoma, SMU, and Arkansas on back-to-back-to-back weekends. Of course, SMU at the time was one of the very best teams in the country. Oklahoma obviously was, and Arkansas was. And so just week in and week out, we were everybody's biggest rival. Probably some of the crazier things in the rivalry happened on the road when we were playing in Fayetteville. One of the things we always talked about as players is playing in Fayetteville and playing in Little Rock were two totally different things. I mean, it'd have been like playing, just any kind of easy road game when you played in Little Rock. And Fayetteville was a totally different thing because the student section sat right behind us. But I can remember us being ranked in the #1 in the nation in 1981 and going in and playing them. That was my redshirt year, and they ambushed us pretty good and beat us that day. We had to fight our way to the locker room because they were tearing down the goalposts as the game ended. I can remember my senior year when we stayed in Fort Smith the night before the game, and the county Mounties kind of gave the wrong bus the ride or the escort through the mountains there, and so we get caught in traffic.
Wow.
And we don't get to the game until like 25 minutes before kickoff.
Oh my God.
We actually never came out in that game. We went into the locker room, got dressed, and came out and played the game. We never had any pregame warm-up. And of course, personally, the 1984 game, the big win that we had here in Austin, were great memories. But it's filled with them. The people just absolutely don't realize, this generation does not realize the tremendous rivalry between Texas and Arkansas.
I guess the game that everyone still talks about, the game of the century, 1969, and we do have video of that, and the biggest play was James Street to Peschel. Coach Royal called that play, and they were thinking, oh my God, we're going to make a pass with this wishbone offense, and they rallied back to beat Arkansas.
Right. Well, of course, the game of the century is, I can always remember, of course, I was 6 years old the year that happened, and watching back through all of the highlights through the years, and remember, I think the President of the United States was at that game. So you talk about an important game, obviously, to everybody in America. And it was always interesting, the Texas-Arkansas game back when, before ESPN and all that stuff, you'd always have the game of the week, the ABC whatever game of the week. And Texas and Arkansas was always one of the huge games, and obviously it was in 1969.
Now, real quick, I have one of the special memories. In 1987, Texas traveled to War Memorial Stadium, another classic game with a classic ending on the final play of that game.
Stafford to Jones. Touchdown, Texas. Holy cow.
Yeah, Arkansas was ranked. That was Dave McWilliams' first season, his signature win of the season. Brett Stafford to little Tony Jones from Grape on Texas, and that was the final play of the game. Now, Coach Dodge from Westlake High School, this matchup, the Texas Bowl in Houston, real quick, your thoughts on that matchup, and what is your prediction?
Well, I think that first of all, with Texas and being a guy that played there in a Texas X and everything, I'm so proud of Coach Strong and his staff and the season they've had to be able to do it his way and getting into this bowl game. Obviously, very similar from the standpoint of Arkansas, kind of took it on the chin early a little bit and rallied their way into it. But as far as my prediction of the game, I think it's going to be a very physical game, and I'm going to predict Longhorns 24, Razorbacks 17.
I can see that. And there will be a huge audience. It's sold out at the former Reliant Stadium, now NRG. Coming up next on At KVU Sports, we'll have a feature with one of the Texas linebackers playing in his final game. Welcome back to At KVU Sports. Todd Dodge here, the Westlake High football coach, former Texas quarterback. This is the end of the show, the final segment. It's a fun part, a game we call Enlist Me. And since we both love Christmas Vacation with Chevy Chase, enlist me your 3 favorite quotes from the movie Christmas Vacation.
Well, I like the one about get something real nice for yourself. And then the other one I probably can't say on, blanks full. Those 2 are pretty my favorite ones.
Hey, list me your 3. We'll become more serious here. List me your 3 reasons why you believe Charlie Strong will turn this Texas football program around.
I think he's got tremendous respect of the parents of up-and-coming players in this state. Who would not want their son to come play for a guy like Charlie Strong with what he stands for? That's 1. 2, bringing defense back. Just an unbelievable attention to detail on the defensive side of the ball, and to me, that's one of the huge things that the University of Texas is all about. And frankly, I think he does just a tremendous job of developing, players. Him and his staff, with Vance Bedford and Sean Watson, of developing players. Once they get there, they've got a proven record of that at Louisville. That's
pretty solid. And you know what? It has been an honor of mine to have you on the show, and best of luck in season 2 of Westlake. Off season's about to start, spring football. And again, he picked the Texas Longhorns to beat Arkansas in the Texas Bowl down in H-Town on Monday night. Coach Dodge, appreciate you.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas belated. And to your wife, who is behind the scenes. Well, look at you. You're on the monitor here. That is true coaching right there.
There you go.
That was